Okay, so now it's going to be the third part, and I'm going to show you different um, uh, example of corner note-taking system. On top of doing corner note-taking system for the Math 103 and the other class, you will have to do some homework and some solving problem that we will do in class together, and you will have to do also home. And so you can decide to do it on two different paper, or you can do it one after another. And when you are going to convert your note into a PDF, you can convert all your note on the same PDF problems and your notes. So this is all the problems that the student on August 26, 2020 did, and then he started to do the taking note. As you can see, it is handwriting, and there is some sort of trying to do his best to try to follow the different order and part that I presented you in a previous video. It's not perfect. We are on August 24, 2020, and he tries his best to do it. Fine with me. Um, I could tell you that I would like to have more colors. I would like to tell you that you can skip line. But even though the handwriting is not wonderful, we can read it. And he skipped a lot of line. He tried to write as big as he could. See this right here? He thought that he could write on the same pages. You could take another page and he could have continued to do it right here. He wanted to write some examples in this note. That's fine with me. It's not about writing tons and tons of examples, but he thought it was important for him at the time. And as you can see right here on the left, he wrote learning slope intercept form, and then it worked and he writes something on learning about the slope and the intercept form. At the end, and as you can see, that's on the second page, at the end, he wrote the summary. And he wrote, in summary, I've learned how to line plot and put numbers into slope intercept form. I struggled at the start, but now I'm getting the hang of it. So he started to understand right away the importance to express how he felt regarding some of the section he just started to study. And that's super duper duper important. I'm going to show you another one now to see the differences. Maybe the same, I think it's the same student. Give me a second. All right, so I want to go back to the one that you just saw. He wrote a lot of things, right? And when you look at this note, there is something very important. Then he wrote some examples. Then he go back to a formula. He tried to write an example of the formula. And then that takes a lot of spaces. It doesn't mean that's wrong, but take a look at the difference that happened almost a month later, okay? Almost 2 months later, actually. This is on October 12, October 10. And as you can see, there is an example, but not much. So that's true. This section, there is not much to write. But nonetheless, he could have wrote more example than that, and he decided that it was not necessary. Again, questions, name, wordings, very important thing on the left, recordable material on the right, and the summary at the end. The line is not done with a ruler. That's okay. It will be better if you're doing it. And I'm going to show you other example that give you a better sense of how more you are trying to write better note, better it's going to be. Okay. But what's interesting in this example is he wrote in a summary, I was confused at the start on how to set up my expected value, but I eventually pieced it together. Fair price was simple. So basically, by writing a summary this way, he could have wrote, I need to remember that the expected value is this. I need to realize that one of the most important things is this. But he also very well understood that if you are writing this moment of what it was difficult, where it was difficult, how you were able to overcome the difficulty, he was able to increase his ability to remember this section, what he went through. And that is extremely important. And this is what I'm expecting from you, not only in your summary, to tell me what are the most important things you need to remember very quickly, very condensed, but more importantly, how you felt on some of the things that you have studied, and if it was easy, why it was easy, and if it was difficult, why it was difficult, and more importantly, how you were able to overcome the difficulty. Most of the time, you will realize it is because you not remember. Some of the students, I don't know if it's part of the example, but some of the students wrote, I realized that if it was difficult, and then I realized it was difficult because I didn't know what I was supposed to know. And you will see that 99% of them, this is what it is. All right, let me show you another example now. So let me show you another way to take notes. All right, so we have this student. As you can see, this student didn't write the note by hand. She decided to write by computer. Let me be clear. When you are taking note by hand, it's another way to increase your ability to retrieve the information. Why? Because all the research shows that when you write by hand, it's no comparison when you're writing by computer. But nonetheless, I don't want to increase any anxiety regarding your note. You feel more comfortable with writing with the computer, you can do it. As you can see, this student right away had a very good understanding of what to do. To be honest with you, the video that I've done for this semester, I didn't do it the same last semester, and actually it was just a PowerPoint. So this is why this semester I decided this video, and hopefully you will get a good grasp of what you need to do. But as you can see, on the left side, she has questions. On the right side, she has answers. It can be examples, or it can be what she needs to remember. All right, just like right here. As you can see, it took more than 1 page. So at the end of the first page, you don't see the summary yet. But when you look at the end of the second page, she has the summary. So what's very interesting to me is this example. We are in August, and she didn't understand yet what she had to completely write. And when you look at the example on the summary, she wrote, to represent word problem as math problem, read through the question, draw a picture if needed, determine what is being asked, create an equation, using letter variable in place of what is unknown, solve the equation, use your answer to answer the question being asked, and double check what you are correct. As you can see, she's making a very good summary of what she needs to do and what she has to focus in order to be able to succeed in this section. But she still did not express her feelings, how she felt about some of the things that was easy, and how she felt about things that was difficult, and how she overcome the difficulties. So let me show you the next cornel note that she wrote. So now we are on November, and after giving some advices, that was in November, but she did that already a long time before. She wrote in the semester, as you can see, again, what maybe would be missing is maybe some, but that was her way. I know that visually having a picture, having a graph if it's necessary. If you don't, that's fine, but if you can have it, why not writing and doing it? But she felt that it was not necessary for her. It might be necessary for you. What I want to show you is that if you decide not to have any graph, that's fine with me. If it's fine with you, you are in charge and you know yourself much better. Now, I will advise you, obviously, like I'm doing right now, maybe to do a graphic. But otherwise, if it's okay with you, that's fine with me. What I really like in this setup, again, the question, main ID, vocabulary, not answer, definition, example, sentences to the right. And then the summary. As you can see now, there is less example than in the beginning. All right? She felt that and which is completely right. The most important part are not the example. You must not remember the example for the calculation, but for how to use what you are supposed to know. That's why the example is here. It's not about remembering the example himself. And most of the time, you have a tendency to remember the example. So what's very noticeable in this example right here is the summary. And she wrote, this chapter section is simple. The difficulty will come in remembering the procedure to calculate the standard deviation. The memorization of this procedure will increase my effectiveness, as well as making sure to double check my answers throughout the problem, as a small miscalculation early on can greatly skew the answer. You can see how this summary is wonderful, because she's really emphasizes what is important for her in order to be able to go through this section. And it can be different for each and every one of you. That's the point that I want to make. I want to re-insist again, I think I said that before, but when you are writing your note from your book, then you're coming into my classes, rather in face-to-face in 2 weeks, or rather in online. We are going to solve problems. I will show you things. I will tell you things. You are going to go back to your note, add whatever you whatever you want to add to your note, and only then, once you have been going through all of this, you will write your summary, and that will close the section, and you will be able to move on to this next section. I will give you some advices on how to improve your ability to retrieve the information. And I will talk about that next week on the first day of class. But for sure, this is a very important part of your learning process. I hope that through these different examples I went with you today, through this video and the 2 previous videos, you will have a very good grasp about what I'm expecting from you. I will talk about it obviously in the first day of class, and maybe several times along the first few weeks. But again, you have this video, so you have the opportunity to rewatch them as many times as you want. If you still have questions, obviously, I will be there to answer them. Think that I'm here to help you to achieve your highest potential. I'm really striving to do that. And so I'm looking forward to work with you. I'm very happy to be with you and to help you out. So thank you very much. Take a look at this. Don't forget the week announcement for next week, and talk to you soon.